The entire Quran is unique and holds countless benefits in every part, but is it okay to have a favorite surah, or to recite or listen to a specific part repeatedly because it deeply resonates with you, perhaps due to your current life situation? Absolutely. Even the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was profoundly affected by certain verses that reminded him of his responsibility. For example, when he recited the verse, "How will it be when we bring forth a witness from every nation, and we bring you, O Muhammad, as a witness over them?" He was moved to tears. He wept so intensely that he could not continue reciting more at that time. There was also the night when he spent the entire time reciting a single verse and crying, "If you punish them, O Allah, they are your servants, but if you forgive them, truly, you are the Almighty, the All-Wise." The Prophet, peace be upon him, was once asked about a man who would recite a particular surah at the end of every prayer. When asked why, the man said it was because it describes the Most Merciful, and he loved to recite about the Most Merciful. The Prophet, peace be upon him, responded, "Go back and tell that man that Allah loves him because of his love for that surah." For someone going through hardship, Surah Yusuf can be especially comforting. Surah Yasin holds a special place in many hearts. Surah Maryam is often cited as a favorite for many. The Prophet used to say that encountering the family of Imran, Al-Imran, felt like stepping into a beautiful, peaceful garden, inviting one to leisurely stroll through its blessings. In one narration, he described Al-Imran as the silk covering of the Quran. And then there are the 7 surahs that begin with the mysterious letters Alif Lam Mim, each carrying its own profound significance. The Quran begins with Surah Al-Fatiha and continues through to Surah An-Nas, with many of its chapters revealed sequentially in Mecca. One unique aspect of these Meccan surahs is that they contain no legal rulings or complex jurisprudence. Instead, they focus entirely on reminders of Allah and the hereafter. Even among the companions, different parts of the Quran naturally touched their hearts in unique ways. The softer and more connected your heart becomes to any part of the Quran, the greater your chances of success in the hereafter. Now, returning to the concept of intercession on the Day of Judgment, the Quran as a whole serves as an intercessor. It advocates for its companions and anyone involved in their journey with the Quran. There is a narration, though with some weakness in its chain, that scholars still reference with hope for its reward. It states that the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said, "Whoever recites the Quran, memorizes it, and lives by what is lawful within it, accepting what is halal as lawful and abstaining from what it declares haram, Allah will admit him into paradise because of it and grant him intercession for 10 of his family members." This highlights the immense reward tied not only to reciting and memorizing the Quran, but also to applying its teachings in daily life. The Quran is meant to be lived, not just memorized. The more a person combines recitation with sincere application, the greater the honor they will receive on the Day of Judgment, for themselves and for those who taught them the Quran, such as their parents. The Prophet, peace be upon him, also said, "Whoever recites the Quran and acts upon it will see his parents crowned on the day of resurrection with a light brighter than the sun's light in your worldly homes." From there, the Prophet, peace be upon him, went on to explain how particular surahs provide specific benefits and raise one's spiritual station. He said, "Recite the Quran for on the Day of Judgment." The narration continues to describe the merit of reciting specific chapters. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said, "On the day of resurrection, the Quran will come as an intercessor for its reciters." He then encouraged, "Recite the 2 brightly illuminated chapters, referring to Surah Al-Fatiha and Surah Al-Baqarah, or some scholars say Surah Yasin and Surah Al-Rahman, depending on narration." He explained, "On that day, these 2 chapters will come like 2 clouds, or 2 shades, or 2 flocks of birds arguing on behalf of their companions." A scholar reflected on this imagery, saying, "Imagine how a king walks in this world with his kingdom, and everyone admires his power and authority. Now picture a person on the Day of Judgment walking with these two surahs, following them like magnificent canopies, clouds, or flocks of birds. Everyone around will admire and wish they had committed those surahs to memory and acted upon them as well. That's why the Prophet, peace be upon him, said, "Reciting these chapters brings blessings in this life, while neglecting them leads to regret in the hereafter." This can also imply that those who are lazy may miss out on their blessings, or that sorcerers and evil forces cannot penetrate the protection that these surahs provide. The Prophet, peace be upon him, also spoke about other short portions of the Quran that we often recite daily. He once heard a man reciting a simple passage and responded by saying, "Paradise has become obligatory for that person." When asked what he meant, the Prophet explained that even such a small act of sincere recitation carries immense reward, and paradise becomes certain for those who truly understand and commit to it. In another authentic hadith, the Prophet said, "Whoever recites a specific verse after each of the obligatory prayers, nothing stands between him and paradise." The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said that whoever recites a certain verse after every obligatory prayer will have nothing standing between them and paradise except death itself, meaning their entry into Jannah is guaranteed. We've already spoken about Surah Al-Fatiha and Surah Al-Baqarah, or Al-A'raf and Al-Rahman, depending on the narration. Now scholars also mention a third companion of the Quran, known as the persistent intercessor. This is Surah Al-Mulk, often called the preventer and the rescuer. The Prophet, peace be upon him, said that whoever recites Surah Al-Mulk every night will be protected from the punishment of the grave. Some scholars explain that this surah prevents a person from committing deeds that would warrant punishment in the grave, while its very recitation offers protection from that punishment. Surah Al-Mulk is incredibly powerful and beautiful. The Prophet, peace be upon him, also mentioned that there is one surah in the Quran with 30 verses that will appear on the Day of Judgment to intercede for its companion. This surah will continue to plead on the person's behalf until Allah grants them forgiveness. The Prophet described it as the surah whose 30 verses will stand up and say, "O Allah, forgive him, protect him from punishment, admit him into paradise." Remarkably, Surah Al-Mulk is filled with reminders of death and the hereafter. It emphasizes that for those who fear their Lord unseen, there is forgiveness and a great reward. So while the Quran is a source of healing and comfort in this life, it holds even greater significance for the life to come. From the moment you enter the grave until your entrance into paradise, the Quran continues to elevate and protect you. And this truth also applies to the life we live now. The Quran continuously uplifts and blesses us in this world as well.